Welcome back to Fret Buzz. I know, you're excited, we're excited.
What?
Everyone's excited. I'm Jonathan.
I am Sean.
Now that that's out of the way, Fret Buzz 2.0. We used to do this show. I think you guys enjoyed it. We used to try to find, or I used to try to find, new channels that maybe you weren't familiar with. I think we're all in the same algorithm by now, so we're tweaking things. Fret Buzz 2.0.
That's right. Don't call it a comeback, all right? That's exactly right. Who are we talking about today, Jonathan?
Today we're going to talk about little-known guitarist. I think he's from Cleveland.
Cleveland?
Tom
Ohio.
Bukovac. Tom Bukovac.
Uncle Larry?
Uncle Larry. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to bring you guys channels. Obviously, you probably all watch Homeskoolin. But we're going to tell you why we love it and give you our sort of 5 top videos we think you should check out. There's so many friggin' Uncle Larry videos at this point.
Yes.
We kind of had to build a criteria today. So we kind of figured, Sean and I, there were basically 5 types of Uncle Larry videos. There was sort of like the philosophical.
That's correct. And
There was sort of like his visit to Gruhn's.
beautiful.
His live gigs in the studio. Am I missing one?
The XTS stuff that he
He
did,
does.
like the
He does
pedal
the.
stuff.
That's right.
That's right.
And then there's maybe even some bonus things we'll throw in there. But
That's right.
so these aren't necessarily like our top ones ever because there are so many. These are just good examples of all these 5 categories that we feel like there are for the good old the Tom Bukovac Uncle Larry videos. So we'll kick off most of them, or what we considered the philosophical sort of videos, where it's Uncle Larry in his garage, probably drinking a Rolling Rock, playing a loop, and then just telling you the secrets of life, basically, as a guitar player. The one that I sort of thought back to that's not that, because I almost went all the way back to when he first started, when they were Corona lessons at first.
Yes,
Because
yes.
he would be drinking Corona, and
Yes.
it was the coronavirus.
Virus is the whole thing.
But he did one a few months ago called The 2 Things I Always Avoid. It was volume 253. So that gives you an idea of how many videos he's done. But he's just talking about playing the blues, man. And this is why his channel is so brilliant, right? Like, there are 1,000,000,007 blues lessons on YouTube. That is an exact count. And you know, they're all kind of the same. You go to the chord and you outline the chord, blah, blah, blah. And they're great. I'm not downplaying any of those lessons. But he's such a unique guitar player, and he's not some dude who's never, like obviously, this guy's played on some of the biggest hits in the world. He's played on all these records out of Nashville.
Massive session guy.
He's played for friggin' Joe Walsh, and he's played, you know, with Hart.
Yeah,
and
I was
he's
gonna
played with
say.
like these huge names, right? And he just has this X factor. Like, when you hear him play, there's just something really unique to what he does. And he gives you these little insights into how his brain works. And here it is, like, you know, I like to think that I kind of get the blues a little bit, but I watched this video, and it's funny, Derek was watching it. He's like, so basically you forget how to play the blues, you forget how to play the high scale. And that is kind of what it is. I mean,
In a way.
but there's something great about it, and it also somehow manages to be, like, about life, which sounds cheesy and corny,
Well,
but it's kind of true.
That's, to me,
You know?
kind of one of the things I love about him as a young guitar player. What I kind of lean into with his stuff is his viewpoint on a lot of the playing stuff. And he gives me, it's like having a friend. It is honestly like having an Uncle Larry who just tells you good information that isn't necessarily right or wrong or in between. It's just his opinion, and it's a really good take, and it inspires me to play. Personally, you know, and
Well,
I feel like
it cuts through a lot of the BS.
Yeah.
Hey, you don't necessarily need like this crazy vintage gear. You don't necessarily need these things. Like, do these things
he's like, just play
and
the
go play
guitar.
and be a
Yeah.
real player. And I think the lesson from Uncle Larry is he plays like all the time,
Yes.
every day. And it seems like he just loves. You can tell how much he loves certain like music and songs.
Well, and to start off with those videos too, all those he usually starts with a jam. That's pretty dope. I always enjoy it.
It
I'm
is
always
dope,
impressed.
You know. So
But it's funny that we go from that right into our second topic, which is Homeskoolin Goes to Gruhn's, which is a series. I think he's got like 7 or 8 volumes. Maybe there's bonus episodes that are kind of mixed in with that, but it's super cool. He goes down to Gruhn's and he just talks to all those guys and gets them all together. And they just BS and drink some beers and talk about guitars and things like that. The episode I wanted to talk about specifically, though, was Volume 4, where they play Gibson Les Paul Juniors the whole time. They're all sick. They're all vintage and dope, and it's great. And then later on, towards the tail end of the episode, George comes on and shares all kinds of knowledge because he's George Gruhn. He's a genius.
I like to see him when he's talking to George because you can tell he respects George, right?
Oh, that's the best part, right? Is he almost like gushes over everything that George says because he's just spreading that knowledge. It's great.
I feel like Uncle Larry's no nonsense. Like he probably doesn't take much junk from lots of people, but if you've like reached his esteem, not that he's not, I feel like he's cool with everyone, but there's these people that he like, the real ones or whatever you want to call it, and then he's okay. You know,
there's
Uncle Larry's
people
ready to listen.
Yeah, people who are up there that it's like, whoa. Same thing with the Glazer stuff. You know, he goes out there and he does a bunch of Glazer videos, and that kind of falls into that range where he just talks to these guys.
Well, I like you know that these videos started off when he's in his garage drinking beer, talking about gear, talking about his vintage stuff, talking about what it's like to be a session player, and then when things started kind of getting back to like normal-ish, he just started taking the videos. You know, I'm going to this session. I'm going to Gruhn's.
Yeah.
Or the next video I was going to talk about, he goes. I think the name of the shop he goes to is it's like Guitar Effects Pedals. It's a little place in Nashville. It's episode, if you want to check it out, it's called Uncle Larry's Hearing Test. It's the homeschooling special episode. It's one of my favorite ones he did. He goes to this shop. The dudes from XTS are there as well. And they basically set up this table behind him with all these, like, you know, the pedals that we're all supposed to lust after, right? Like Blues Breakers and old Tube Screamers and mostly like the Nobles, the ODR ones. But they got all the versions. They got like the Mini. They got the old, you know, some old ones. They got the new reissues that aren't Minis. And he's got a Princeton that he's familiar with. They plug him in. His back's turned. And then he just starts playing. They turn the knobs and he tells them, some of them why he hates that pedal and it would never work. You know, and some of them why he loves it and why that's a good one. And it's kind of surprising.
It is.
He's not doing it based on you got to have this pedal. It's specific ones. And it's neat to see like sort of how he thinks about it and what he hears.
Well, and especially, I won't give away the surprises because if you haven't seen the video, go watch it. It's worth seeing. It's really surprising that at the end, the pedal that he does pick as like his number one kind of Tube Screamer thing, what it turns out to be, because it might just blow your mind. It's pretty funny that it is the one that it is.
I love how when this video came out, I feel like we were sort of at the height of Blues Breaker madness.
Yes.
Which we have been for a long time, right? Probably all the way back to the Morning Glory. It's like, oh, some kind of Blues Breaker. And he plays one and he's just like, yeah, that is, nah. Like, you can see the disdain. That doesn't work. And then he tells you like why it's not a good sound. You're like, oh. And now I love the blues. I use a Blues Breaker side of the Protein all the time. So
it's killer.
But it was just cool to see.
Yeah, it's nice to see a guy just be like, it's not working.
Nah,
it's not it. Nah, I would never use this.
This one doesn't do it.
It's incredible, right?
So that's a great episode and a great special episode. Great trip.
That's right. But, you know, into number 4, where we talk about, you know, especially Tommy being on the road there, he goes and does all the studio stuff like you referenced earlier, right? Well, one of my favorite episodes, especially because I'm kind of like a studio nerd to some degree, I like to dig into that stuff. He goes and takes the Homeskoolin video stuff into the studio, and most of the time that he does this, what I really love is it's not a self-shot, you know, he's not taking, you know, any stock of his guitar playing, right? It's really about all the people that he's surrounded with. So I think he's talking to Brian Sutton, and the episode is specifically called The Right Hand, and they go through a bunch of just cool, like the guitars that he's playing, the riffs that he's playing, the licks that he's playing, why he plays the way that he plays, and, you know, just a bunch of different intriguing like session stuff, and actually dissects the bass player's rig too. You know, it's just super neat that so much of his channel is about building up the people around him and not just you know, focusing on like himself. It's not always, you know, he doesn't go to the gig and strap the camera to the end of his guitar and play, you know.
Cam, yeah, exactly. Well, and they talk about gear, but they also talk about, like you said, the technique, and it's not. It just seems very well-rounded, right? Yeah, from someone who's legit doing. Yes. And I mean, as some of those early ones where you could tell he's just walking in with the phone, and they were like really short videos.
It's like,
you could tell some of the dudes are like,
"Whoa!"
Only because it's you am I tolerating this. You know what I mean? It's kind of the vibe I got, which I think is kind of fun. There's a lot of really cool studio ones.
I mean, amazing ones, right? Where he just and it's super cool, and I think, like I said, it's never just straight. It reminds me of talking like us having a conversation about something after we've done something like that. Like we go in and we're talking about the experience of it or where our head was at and stuff. Not so much, I don't know, just the things that it normally is, you know?
There's a great, well, the thing about when he goes into the studio and they show him playing, he's never looking at the camera. It's always him. He's like doubled over. And it's like, first off,
Yes.
he must have a hell of a chiropractor, Bill. Because he's always playing he's like in the guitar, you know what I mean? You can't see his face like you see the back of his head. And I always think, man, but you can tell he's
that focused. He's in it. Yeah.
This isn't on his channel, but there's one recently that just came out from Rick Beato where he goes to Nashville. Tom Bukovac gets a lot of section players, songwriter, and a singer. And they go in and sort of produce a song, and you get to see it all, and they talk to all the players. That's a pretty cool video. And then you hear the song at the end. So check that one out. That leads us to the last one, is he's taking us along on some live gigs. And there's been some really fun ones. There's been, I think there was that one, like at the Hollywood Bowl and different stuff. None of those are the one I picked because they're not my favorite ones. At one point, and I think it's like the 101st episode, right? I think it's to commemorate 100 episodes of Homeschooling. He goes to 3rd and Lindsley in Nashville. If you're familiar with Nashville, you've probably been there. Get some great players, and they take all the little intro jams, and turn them into like live songs and jam over them.
That's awesome.
And it's pretty amazing. So that is episode 101. That's from 4/16/21. If you go look for it.
And this is also something he does, right? Not so much the intro jam part, but on the road stuff where like he does the Indianapolis Colts gig where they do the what's that?
I forgot the name of the thing.
Jim Irsay Collection. Jim Irsay Collection. Thank you. He goes through and he'll show off the guitars that he's playing, but then he also shows off the musicians once again, and they, it's just it seems like a good vibe and experience, and he showcases all that.
Dude, what was
It's
the
nice.
gig where he's the band leader, I think, and it's the ladies singing the background harmony, and he's jamming.
Oh, and they're doing the
That might have been from the Jim Irsay one.
What's love got to do?
It
Right,
was
isn't that
like,
it?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
so great. I mean, they were like crushing it, and he's like,
And then he's like, this is why, why you play. I mean,
Yes.
pretty fantastic.
And once again, just building up he had these 3 beautiful background singers just going at it. They were loving it, and everybody's like in their pre-show gear. It's not like they're all dressed up. They're just having a great time. And
sound check probably.
Yeah, and they're just messing around. It's amazing, yeah.
So, I think that's why we love the channel, right? Because you really do feel like you're just coming along with this dude.
Yeah.
Who's probably one of the top, if not the top, session players in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, there's one where he's like with Brent Mason hanging out. There's just all sorts. I mean, like these are 5 great reasons you should go watch his channel, and you should watch these episodes. Yeah. But it's just fantastic.
If you haven't as well, I think he's at 95,000 subscribers. So
so
he's
go subscribe.
5 away from the big 100K mark. Go get him there.
The little.
Give him the bump, baby.
plaque.
Yeah, I want to see Uncle Larry with the plaque. I hope it comes with like a beer attached to it or something too.
A Rolling Rock.
A Rolling Rock. Well, so he swore off the Rolling Rocks a little bit. He went Yingling on us.
Did he? I think I have seen him go Yingling.
I'm not a Yingling guy. I'm gonna be honest.
Sometimes I can be.
No worries. It's okay. I drink Michelob Ultra, and you can all leave your mean comments below. Thank you.
It's okay. Whatever you feel is right.
Whatever you feel is right, Grandpa.
Yeah. If you got favorite, episodes, favorite things about this channel, put them in the comments. If you've got channels you think that we should do this same sort of treatment for, put those down there, and we'll go through and get all the good ones, and we will try to feature them on this new version of Fret Buzz. Otherwise, I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah. I'm gonna do one last plug. Go to 501 Chorus Echo.
Yep.
That is the name of his YouTube channel. If you look that up, it's the homeschooling badge on it. Click on it, go subscribe. He's got a website too that you can subscribe to. Check all that stuff out. I mean, outside of that.
He's got cool gear. He's got little mugs and the shirts. I think the shirts are from the Guitar House of Tulsa or whatever it's called.
Yeah. They're good quality shirts too.
I see
He's a
people out wearing
stickler
them.
about that.
Yeah, so
there
that
you
was
go.
a thing. And occasionally he does little contests.
He does. It's kind of neat.
The string bender contest was fun.
It's cool.
All the reasons we love Uncle Larry, Tom Bukovac.
That's right.
So check him out. Don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe.
Hit the bell.
That's it. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you next time.
Next time.